True Crime Facts Part 1. In 2008, a woman named Judy Buenoano was executed in Florida's electric chair. What made her case infamous was the trail of bodies she left behind: her husband, her son, and a former boyfriend, all dead under suspicious circumstances. After each death, she collected life insurance payouts. But when her paraplegic son drowned during a canoe trip, investigators dug deeper. They found traces of arsenic in his system. Judy had slowly poisoned him until he could no longer walk, then took him on a canoe ride and tipped it over. In 2013, Canadian college student Luka Magnotta mailed dismembered body parts to elementary schools and government offices after filming himself murdering and dismembering a man. He uploaded the video online and fled the country. The international manhunt ended when he was caught in a Berlin internet cafe, Googling news articles about himself. During the 1980s, a serial killer known as the Butcher of Mons murdered at least 5 women in Belgium. Their body parts were found stuffed into plastic bags and dumped near highways. The killer was never caught, and to this day, his identity remains a complete mystery. One bag even had a chilling note: "I'm not done yet." In 2015, a 20-year-old man named Austin Herof attacked a couple in Florida while they were sitting in their garage. He stabbed both to death with a knife and then began eating the man's face. When police arrived, he growled like an animal and was impossible to restrain. Toxicology reports showed no drugs in his system. He later claimed he thought he was half dog, half man. Between 1974 and 1978, Rodney Alcala appeared on The Dating Game and won. What no one knew was that he was already a serial killer. By the time he was finally caught, he had murdered at least 8 women, possibly many more. Investigators later found a storage locker with over 1,000 photographs of women and children, some of whom were never identified. True Crime Facts Part 2. In 2009, a woman named Tracy Richter staged a home invasion to cover up the murder of a teenager she shot 11 times. At first, she claimed the boy broke in and attacked her. But investigators found a journal in his backpack that was planted there, written by Tracy in an attempt to frame him. The entry confessed to a conspiracy that never happened. In 1981, a 6-year-old boy named Adam Walsh was abducted from a Florida shopping mall. 2 weeks later, his severed head was found in a canal. The rest of his body was never recovered. His father, John Walsh, would go on to become the host of America's Most Wanted, helping capture over 1,000 fugitives, but he never found his son's killer with full certainty. In 2016, a Chinese student named Yingying Jang disappeared on her way to sign an apartment lease in Illinois. Surveillance footage showed her getting into a stranger's car. That man, Brent Christensen, had built a soundproof room in his apartment specifically for kidnapping. He brutally murdered her and later bragged about it at a vigil for missing people. Her body was never found. In 2001, 25-year-old Shante Jawan Mallard was driving home from a night of drinking in Fort Worth, Texas, when she struck a homeless man named Gregory Biggs with her car. The impact sent Gregory straight through her windshield, legs hanging out, torso lodged in the glass, still alive and begging for help. But instead of calling 911, Shante drove home with Gregory still stuck in her windshield. She parked in her garage, walked inside, and left him there, alive, for nearly 2 days. She checked on him a few times, but never called for help. When he finally died, she and some friends dumped his body in a nearby park. Police found the shattered car with blood, hair, and glass still inside. Shante was arrested and later sentenced to 50 years in prison, all because she didn't want to get in trouble. Someone died screaming for help just feet away from her front door. True Crime Facts Part 2. In 2017, a 26-year-old Russian man named Dmitry Luchin was arrested after killing his date during a romantic evening at home. He struck her with a wine bottle, dismembered her, and reportedly ate parts of her brain and lungs while drinking her blood from a cup. When asked why he did it, he said he wanted to try something new. Between 1962 and 1970, a man named Charles Edmund Cullen murdered at least 40 patients while working as a nurse. He would inject them with lethal doses of medications during his shifts. What's even more disturbing is that he confessed to killing as many as 400 people over his 16-year career, making him one of the most prolific serial killers in history. In 1991, a 9-year-old girl named Candace Newmaker died during a rebirthing therapy session meant to treat her behavioral issues. Therapists wrapped her in blankets and piled pillows on her while encouraging her to fight her way out like a baby being born. Trapped and unable to breathe, Candace cried out that she was dying. The therapists ignored her and kept going. A Japanese serial killer named Futoshi Matsunaga tortured and brainwashed his victims, including entire families, using electric shocks and extreme manipulation. Over 8 years, he convinced several people to kill their own relatives. When he was finally caught in 2002, investigators found teeth, bone fragments, and burned remains inside a pressure cooker in his apartment. Jane Peters and her daughter were found dead in their Texas home. It looked like a double suicide. But 2 decades later, digital forensics revealed the chilling truth. Jane had forced her daughter to write suicide notes, shot her in the head, then turned the gun on herself. The reason? Mounting debt and the fear of losing their house. In 2020, a South Korean woman was arrested after police found the corpse of her disabled daughter sealed in a plastic drum filled with concrete. The girl had died 5 years earlier. Kim continued to collect government disability payments while keeping the body hidden inside her apartment. In 2004, a high school girl in Japan murdered her 12-year-old classmate by luring her into an empty classroom and slitting her throat with a box cutter. The suspect was just 11 years old. She showed no remorse, and after the murder, posted a photo online, smiling with blood on her hands. The case shocked the nation and led to calls for harsher punishments for juvenile criminals. In 2016, a man named Stephen Port was sentenced to life in prison for drugging and murdering 4 young men he met through dating apps. After killing them with lethal doses of GHB, he left their bodies in graveyard areas near his apartment. Police failed to connect the deaths for months, despite them all occurring within a few blocks of each other, with similar methods and around the same time.